Yes, hello. I am James Rowlands, and today it's the Wnr502. It's NXT Deadline 2023. But I am not alone. I have a pleasure to be joined by a resident NXT expert and New Japan deity. It is, of course, Monty. How's it going, man?
It's going fine. It's going fine. I'm happy to be back again. Like I said, episode 501 and 502. So I'm definitely honored to start off the next 500. Try to set the tone right. But I did cringe at the fact that I'm still considered the NXT expert after that show. But we'll talk about it.
Hard
I don't want to spoil
subject to
anything. But
change.
yeah.
Yeah, like we were experts at this point. Remember yesterday when we were talking about our experiences and watching the product for so
Oh
many
yeah.
years.
I feel like if you're a new listener to that show yesterday, you heard what we said and you was like, oh, okay, these guys know what they're talking about, and then you watched the deadline
Yep.
and you was like, these guys are idiots. They don't have a clue. Like, yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. It's very, very ironic that we were going down memory lane of just how much we watched. So that gives us the sense that we know something about this product, and then it happened, man. But I did still kind of feel justified because I did suggest certain things, and we'll talk about that in a second. And
we did
Sean
we did get a
literally
couple of
did.
things right.
But they're just like you can. When I listen back to that podcast, I'll be like, we overthought everything.
So maybe if anybody doesn't know, last
Yeah.
night we did do our NXT update and predictions for today, and I can confirm Gina and Jaxie did send their predictions in time, even though never sure. But we'll get on to that. We'll get on to that. Let's not hang around. What better way to kick off than with kickoff? It was in studio with Mega Morant, Matt Camp, and Sam Roberts. Ilya arrived, as did Baron Corbin. I always find it weird. They arrive in the kickoff and then they arrive again in the main show. It's like magic. Brom was confident. Dijak said he's going to make everyone feel like Eddie Thorpe. I don't think that's going to come back to haunt him. Yeah, we're right. Two big fights for Briggs and Henley tonight. Fuck you, Jensen. No one asked. And then we get the kickoff match. Axiom versus Nathan Fraser. 1 minute into this match, after the Spirited Athletic Exchange, the first NXT chant broke out, and the commentators sold the idea of Fraser possibly turning heel soon, highlighting his growing arrogance and frustration. Fraser nearly took the win off a superplex and a spinning net breaker. He again nearly got him off a super kick counter to the golden ratio. And as Nathan Fraser closed on the win, he could not put Axiom away. The superhero caught Fraser with a top rope Spanish fly into the golden ratio to win. Afterwards, they shook hands, and we were done already at the kickoff show.
That was the first sign.
Maybe it wasn't our night. But,
Yeah.
Monty, what do you think? Two of our personal favourites and a nice response from the crowd for both.
Yeah, man, I was really, like you said, a nice response. The people were really into everything that they did, and they came out there with the pace. I think Booker T mentioned it at the match's end. They came out there and wrestled a match that made you feel like they both were like, no, we should be in one of these, either survivor matches or just at least on the main card. We should not be in a kickoff match. And they really set a nice tone, wrestled at a breakneck pace. Hitting a lot of the cues that me and you, like you said, you mentioned, we're big fans of these guys. We've seen them do this a couple of times now, even if we go all the way back to like the Heritage Cup days. And now to see they had like a best of three, I think it was three, but like best of five, something like that series of matches that were really, really good, either earlier this year or last year or something. But so they have the chemistry, and I think that's what this was. This was really, really showcasing a lot of that chemistry. I thought it was a random match, but I knew initially what the purpose of it was. It was to get the crowd going. It was to let these two guys do what they do best, just go out there and work. And I was really, really shocked by the result. Like I mentioned in my in the predictions that Axiom loses matches like this, and I guess that should be a little bit. I guess that makes you a little bit more optimistic for Axiom going forward. That now maybe going into the new year he will start to pick up victories in these situations, because we know he has the talent in the ring. May not be may not be asked to talk or the character work much, but I know me and you were into a little bit of some of the stuff they were doing with Axiom's character. He just hasn't had that storyline since pretty much the series. And I know he had the stuff with scripts, but you know what I mean. It's just like he hasn't really had. Matter of fact, I think the scripts thing kind of messed up the momentum Axiom had earlier this year. But we thought Frazier would get the victory because of what kind of just happened to him with Dragunov. But I noticed one thing that made me be like, you know what? I should have paid attention because, just like him talking mess to Dragunov and not being able to keep his mouth shut and him falling short, Frazier is starting to develop a chip on his shoulder, and you can see even a couple of spots in the match. Like, yeah, they're supposed to be friends, respect, but he started to show a little bit of signs, make certain facial expressions that made it seem like maybe Frazier, I think even Vic mentioned, he seems to be a little bit overconfident these days or becoming cocky. So, I don't know if that's going to be a sign of things to come. He did kind of hesitate before the handshake and hug after the match, but I think it still ended up showing respect, and it still ended up being a really, really impressive contest that made both guys look beautiful. I mean, look really good. Like, honestly, I don't think you can come away from that match and not be impressed with both guys.
Yeah, I think you're right. Most of this show is going to be us, I think, half of it explaining what we thought about the match and explaining our decisions.
Why we was wrong.
Right. So, from my eyes, it's like Axiom stood out at last year's deadline, and like you said, has done nothing in a year. We don't mention scripts around these parts. But again, like you said, and it's weird how it looked like Fraser was the one that actually had the story, but of course the story is him losing to get to that point. But as you said, a showcase for what both can do. What would you score out of 5?
Yeah, I was really into this one. This had the way they wrestled. It really had me start thinking about just some of my favorite kickoff matches that I can think of. I know for years people would say the WLC was like the best kickoff match, but if you're just talking about purely wrestling standpoint, this was really a really good match, move for move, if you just really paid attention to it. I gave it 4 1/4. I was really into it. It was a very, very strong way to start this show. And also, I want to add that this is what I want. I know you will appreciate this. You sit through kickoffs for almost every WWE event we watch, and a lot of times, especially on the main roster lately, they have been a complete waste of time. Well, I feel like instead, not that they don't need to talk up and build up the matches for some of the people so they can get last minute subscriptions or whatever the purpose of the pre-show is at this point. I feel like every pre-show, if we're gonna do it, needs to at least have one match. And if you don't want to put story into the match, just let guys go out there and do what these two just did, because I feel like that's better than just letting us sit there and and sit through people that we don't really care about their opinions talk, for most of an hour. If you're not going to give us promos or vignettes and all that, and even vignettes, we've seen them a billion times. Or we're going to see them again. I like this method. At least just give us something, purpose for watching the pre-show.
Yeah, I think without doubt. I think NXT does do it better than, like I said, with main roster at the moment, because we do get kind of more backstage interviews and stuff like that. But sometimes it's not enough for an hour. But I agree, this match is really, really good because I'm going to give it 4. Predictions. Well, this is the last WWE event. Of course, we're here for Deadline December 9th. And it is Deadline probably for our NXT careers. But prediction leagues at the moment. So after Survivor Series. WWE, as we know, Jaxie on 2 points. It's a surprise she got 2. James and Monty on 5. And of course, Gina with the league win on 7. AEW with 1 AEW show left. It is Jaxie and I on 4. Monty and Gina on 3. So there's a chance, much like these crazy New Japan block matches, Monty and everything like that, we could have a 4-way tie in AEW at the end of the year. And then, of course,
wow.
bonus league with 3 bonus points left. Monty's on 16, I'm on 15, Gina on 14, Jaxie on 11. Of course, Deadline and World's End. Unbelievably, this one, the experts were wrong. We went Fraser, Jaxie, Gina went Axiom.
What are the odds that they both go Axiom and Axiom actually wins? Like, what are the odds of it, John?
This is what we're doing. This is a scientific experiment. Where 2 guys who actually watch 52 weeks of NXT can beat two girls who have to be explained who's in each match. It's not
Exactly.
frustrating at all.
Oh my goodness, great point. Oh my goodness.
Anyway, on to the main show. And Shawn Michaels waits his way out and asks, "Are we ready?" And CM Punk music hits. And as Monty mentioned, one of the few things he did get right last night, CM Punk on an NXT event. Wow. Punk wearing his Bret Hart hoodie. And it was quite a nice moment to him and Shawn, where he's like, "Well, look, Shawn, you got over it like I made up with Triple H. And the best in the world tease possibly signing with NXT instead of Raw or SmackDown." I think my favourite thing in the whole segment was Shawn Michaels thinking someone else was coming out when they played Punk's music to wrap him up. But apart from that, it's a good way to start the show.
Yeah, it was awesome. I also love Sean just being honest. I don't know if he legitimately did, but he's just like, "Oh, I forgot." They both forgot what they were supposed to originally say. So I just love how it just turned into them just talking. And the segment, even the way the segment cut off, you could the way it ended, you could just tell it's like, oh, they probably were meant to do something else, but we just get to see two of the greats just sitting there, and they give a hug. They gave a nice hug that seemed nice and very friendly. At least on camera, it seemed genuine. So it was really cool, awesome moment. And like you said, for even though I think neither one of us think that for a second Punk will actually sign the NXT, just the acknowledgement again is one of those things that what I'm talking about when I say they really are trying to establish NXT, or at least make NXT feel like a third brand. Not so, even though it is still developmental, it's still about the future. I just love the fact that Punk was there and he was able to at least tease the fact that he would show his face in NXT or be an NXT character, and it's really really cool. And then I saw on social media him getting a chance to pop up on Cora Jade, someone who we know wrestled, and Roxanne too for that matter. He had posted a picture with both of them, and they all wrestled because of not Punk, but also AJ. So it was just really really cool to see him, and I would like to think that he got a chance to spend time talking to a couple of the young talents. So it's just awesome, an awesome moment. It was just awesome in general to have him in NXT.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, again, you wouldn't be Punk without him saying something and him going to Shawn like, everybody's come up to me going, "I used to watch you when I was young." So
Oh, that was
obviously
nice.
it's a little bit of frustration. I should explain as well, for people listening might not know, because there's been a lot of stuff going around, especially on Twitter, about the seating, arrangement, plan,
Yeah.
and pictures, and people saying, "Oh, look at CM Punk, we empty arena." They actually didn't sell any tickets for the hardcam area, much like AEW shows, so that was blank as it was. But I still think for an NXT event, when you consider like it's third brand, to get that many people in there for this is still pretty impressive. Again, I understand most people are joking about CM Punk, but the ones that are kind of, thinking it's real, wait till the new year.
Right. And they're building something, man. They're building. And I think that's the beauty of NXT. NXT is building that feeling back. Just like I know, when they were selling out Barclays or just doing like when I was in New Orleans and all of that for takeovers, they're trying to get back to that stage. And I think with the run that they've been on, with the way that certain decisions that's been made, they seem like they're right out on the right track.
I think without doubt. We'll move on. Up next, North American title, Dirty Dom versus Dragon Lee. And Dragon Lee's dad, Ray, joined the commentary. And he didn't know this should have been Wesley's spot. But, of course, Wesley was injured and Dragon Lee took it, as he does with everything. The X-Kong hit the three Amigos on Dragon and refused to take the free count. At that point, I'm thinking, hang on a minute. But Luchador caught Dirty Dom in a tree of woe outside the ring, sent him to the floor with a gnarly double foot stomp. And Dirty Dom was too focused on Ray at ringside throughout his title match. Dragon Lee made him pay with a tilt-a-whirl DDT, and your new NXT North American champion, Dragon Lee. Monty, what do you think of this? Because this is, I mean, even the crowd didn't react how I thought they would for the end of Dirty Dom's reign. Is it just because of everything that went down?
Yeah, I think it was sudden. Even though he did hit his finish, I don't think anyone expected it to end because, like you mentioned, the way things went down. You heard the chants at the beginning of the match. That crowd really wanted to see Mommy, or probably had an expectation that Rhea Ripley would be there. I'm pretty sure that me and you considered something like that for the predictions. You know what I mean? Because every time so far, Dom has basically tried to do it alone, even though he's wrestling his ass off, and I think he's improved leaps and bounds. And him and Dragon Lee, by the way, their chemistry, man, it's funny. You wouldn't assume it, and I think that's a testament to just how much better Dominic has gotten. But yeah, man, I didn't have that on my bingo card when Dragon Lee came to NXT. That it seemed like a couple of his best matches would be with Dominic, but it really were. And I thought the match itself, the way they wrestled, was really, really good. I was into it. I loved the commentary of Booker T basically burying Rey Mysterio to his face to put over Dominic and talk about how Dominic achieved way more than Rey at that stage in his career than Rey has, which, I guess it's true when you think about it. But to be honest, this was, like you said, it was definitely shocking the crowd. I don't think was expecting it the way it happened, and like you would expect the crowd to just be going insane when he loses the belt. And like I said, I was under if Wesley was in this spot, I probably would have picked Wes because it just would have made sense. Because how many times can Wesley get screwed in this situation? But I thought since they went back to Dragon Lee, that probably should have rolled out with Dominic a little bit longer. But and I'm assuming maybe some of the crowd was expecting more, some shenanigans, maybe even a little bit longer of a match, because I thought they were building still even when the finish happened. So it was kind of sudden, I feel like, and I think that's why the crowd seemed like they kind of, you know what I mean, fell off there.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. It's one of the weirdest things I've seen where the crowd knew Dom would win and he lost. Like, right. Again, even we've talked about recently with Miz and Gunther, like that crowd believed for a second. This crowd didn't and got a title change, and that's what happens.
Yeah, it's weird. That's a good point. It's a very good point. I think no one was really expecting the change, and then, like you said, you got almost the complete opposite scenario. So it just came off kind of awkward. I'm happy for Dragon Lee because I do know he's deserving. He's a great wrestler. And again, this is another thing about what I was saying about the main roster. I think that's another reason why, like, when he kind of got fast-tracked to SmackDown, we thought, oh, okay, well, they're probably not even going to worry about giving him a championship. And all I have to say is the way the North American Championship now has been just basically adopted, not onto the main roster necessarily, but main roster guys are allowed to get it. If I'm Solo Sikoa, I'm just going to pop up on Raw and attack Adam Pearce one day. Because he probably would still be North American champion if it wasn't for him making him give the belt back.
The thing is, though, how do we know that the title's not going to change hands on NXT with Rhea Ripley?
100%.
You know what I mean? Like,
and that would make me mad because that we've seen this. We've seen this. Like, that's what they did to Trick. So I'm with you, but I would prefer for them to at least try to ride this decision out or play into some judgment that, like, Dominic should be mad. Like, and I saw a YouTube clip again. I saw a backstage promo. I'm assuming is when they did that. And Dominic he was asking the question. He's like, where was Mommy? I'm going to go home to Mommy because this is not, where was Judgment Day? He didn't know what was going on. So, I'm confused. Dom's confused. The crowd was confused. So, yeah.
But the thing is, again, wouldn't it make more sense, storyline-wise, for Ray to be in Dragon's corner when he fought Santos? You know, the guy that injured him? Rather than just...
It's a really good point.
Just because he doesn't like...
And that just happened Friday, right?
Yeah,
on
Friday. Like,
Dragon had no support.
Ray, we know you don't like Dom. We know you like rubbing it in his face, all right? But again, 24 hours previously, you should have done that.
Mm-hmm.
This was crazy. Like I said, what the fuck do we know when it comes to anything?
Obviously.
What the fuck? What would you score this out of 5 anyway?
Again, I thought this match could have entered another gear, so I would probably cap it about 3 3/4. But I thought they were really doing something nice with the time that they had. Like I said, I probably would have wanted to go a little bit longer. Maybe Dominic to at least get a couple false finishes where he screwed Dragon Lee out of himself. Because that's another thing. Like, it shouldn't, with Dominic's formula, I think eventually he's going to have to be able to cheat himself, not just have the help. And I think they could have pulled the trigger here, at least with a false finish of him almost screwing Dragon Lee by himself. But again, like I said, I don't think it was a bad match by any estimation. But I would probably cap it at 3 3/4.
Yeah, I've gone 4 for it. Not a bad match at all. Predictions, we all went Dom. So the experts on Zilch and the girls were on 1. And the Women's Iron Survivor Challenge rules: well, 2 individuals start every 5 minutes, new competitor, and a 25-time limit with most falls to win. Of course, it's Tiffany Stratton, Blair Davenport, Kalana Jordan, Lash Legend, and Fallon Henley. We get Davenport and Henley opening match, followed by Tiffany Stratton at 3. Henley was double teamed by Stratton and Davenport, setting up Davenport to steal the first fall from Stratton on Henley. When the bar owner returned to the action, she ran down the centre of the universe and pinned her with a Shining Wizard. Kalana Jordan came out in 4, while Lash Legend was last in. At that point, Blair had moved to 2 points, pinning Henley. Legend coming fast and planting Henley on Stratton to take 2 points. At this point, I was getting excited, Monty. I'm not going to lie to you. No,
she looked great. Like Lash came in dominant, man. I get it.
Yeah. I mean, only Roman Reigns has double stacked, in the past 3 years. So, anyway, Dar, Mensah, and Jackson blocked the door when Stratton and Henley tried to leave the penalty box. They escaped through the top before the Centre Universe sent a rival through the announce table slowly. Stratton got a late decision with a pretty smooth shot on Legend, but she missed hitting Jordan to get a second. And it was Davenport who managed to get the winning fall over Jordan, even though Lash, who had just been sent to the penalty box, chased her with seconds left. So the final scores was Blair 3, Lash 2, James 0. What were your thoughts on this? Because there was a lot going on. I thought it was quite a quiet first 10 minutes until the first pin, and then it kind of picked up.
Yeah, I agree. I think, like you said, it started off rather slow. Even though I think, like you said, it picked up. It really started to get interesting to me when Tiffany entered and they were doubling Fallon, and then she turned on Blair. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, there we go. And then they really started to do some interesting things. I really love a couple of like you said, the Lash Legend. Everything Lash Legend did in this match, she looked awesome. Like it was a couple of the double suplex into, like you said, into her choke slam, power bomb, and the choke slam, and then the spot where she basically had 2 girls, one on the front, one on the back, and then she gets drop kick, and then Tiffany came in with another spot. Like, they have some really interesting. They put it together a really, really fun match for the most part with some exciting moments in it. And like you mentioned, like you said earlier, I think the only thing that kind of cost me, and I mentioned this yesterday when it comes to predictions, is I figured that the Stratton and Henley thing, I figured they were kind of cancel each other out. And I said, did Shawn Michaels throw us a curveball with Blair Davenport? And that's exactly what they did with the Nikita Lyons thing, throwing us off, making me feel like something that we'll talk about in a second. I thought that would be happening to Blair in this situation, what we'll be talking about in the other Iron Survivor match later. But that didn't happen, and Blair, played it smart. Even though I thought Lash could have pinned, I think Fallon or someone was in the ring, but when she went to chase after Blair, and instead of chasing Blair, she should have tried to pin whoever that was down in the ring. I just forget exactly who it was, but again, Kaylani had the nice 450 splash, had some nice moments. So again, I thought every woman in this match got a chance to shine, and now that we're on to like the third ever, like this is like the third time I've seen the Iron Survivors match, I'm really falling in love with this concept. And again, we'll talk about the men's one, and I'll put it over even more. But like, I feel like this is a concept that they can lean on going forward. Man, they really put together a solid match. The only problem like I have is maybe that finish with the chase. It was supposed to be more dramatic than it actually ended up being. I feel like, I don't know if the timing was just off because they was running out of time, but I thought everybody worked hard. I thought it ended up being a really, really good match, and I think overall, I still would at this point in the show, this was my favorite match because it was just real nice and dramatic. I thought everybody looked good here, and again, 4.5, I think would probably be overall what I would leave it at. But yeah, I was really, really into this. I was kind of bummed out about Tiff, but I kind of told you yesterday that we probably are making a mistake not getting Blair. But hey, I can't be too mad at the situation. It ended up being positive. because, like I told you yesterday, Lyra versus Blair does seem like a smart next feud for the champions.
Yeah, I think without doubt. Like I said, it was a nice first couple of minutes between Blair and Henley. Jordan twatted herself into the announce table with Tiffany taking that metaphor as well. I would have a change to the match, though, and that would have the match clock counting down rather than up to 25. Because
I agree.
If you don't know, then you're going, where the fuck are you going to?
You're just confused.
Up to whatever.
Yeah. I agree.
At least you could do
that. Yeah, started at 25 minutes, and then like the last person come in with 15. Would it be 15 minutes left? I believe the last person come in, or 10. Yeah, 10 minutes left or something. Yeah, 10 minutes left, I think. So I agree. I agree with that. Let it count down so you can add to the dramatics of and have like a big Royal Rumble like countdown at the end.
What's exactly 10-minute warning, 5-minute warning, 2-minute warning, and then like I said, the count from 10. 4.25 for me. I thought it was good. Like Lash really impressed me in this. I know she's only
she looked awesome.
Bits, but again, even like someone like Henley, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But predictions. I mean, god damn it, we were talking. I should have gone Blair. I went Lash, and I thought it was there. I thought they
you had the opportunity to switch,
and then did that. Yeah, but I think they did Lash that way just to fuck me over. Like,
I agree.
Why Lash?
I wouldn't have been. She wrestled. That was so well done that if she won that match, I don't think anyone would have complained. Like that's how great it was. Like she looked really, really good. And Tiffany again, even though she lost, like some of the stuff Tiffany do, it's just like she is so naturally good. Like she did. I've seen this spot done by many women over the years. You know, the cartwheel, like into the. So many gymnasts are just like women from even back in the Divas era would do that spot. And Tiffany did that spot and almost vaulted over the top rope. Like that's how explosive she was. And I was like, she is insanely good. They're like spinning Alabama Slam type thing. And I was like, wow, how special Tiffany is. It just shows you, even when she's not winning or the focus, she still shines in these scenarios. But yeah, man, congrats to Blair. And I'm with you. Like Lash, I wouldn't have been mad at all. Like I was worried. I was legitimately sitting there like, oh my goodness, he switched and got it right. But they did you wrong, man.
But again, like I said, it's nice for a match to have all five going into it and coming out with a little bit of something extra now, you know. And like we said, we'll talk about that when we get to the men's match as well. So I went for Lash. The rest went for Tiffany. So it still means the girls are on one. The experts have got fuck all. The winner called out Lyra Valkyria, who was ready to face up with Davenport, but Cora Jade arrived to attack the champion, hold up the NXT championship. You see, I was right about something. We were right about two things, Monty. It would be Punk and Cora Jade. And that's it. We can finish the show now. That's
100%. 100%. It's so awesome, by the way, to see her back. You know, it's been a few months. Like I mentioned multiple times on the pod yesterday about them building a women's division, and we talked about Roxy, and we'll talk about her some more later. But it's kind of hard. I remember not too long ago, before we had the rise of Lyra and Tiffany, those were the two, Cora and Roxy. So to have Cora back to kind of solidify herself and finally put herself in that title picture, I'm looking for her to do big things next year in NXT, and starting this Wednesday when she makes her official return and all of that. But yeah, I'm looking forward to what they decide to do with Cora Jade now that she's back.
Yeah, without a doubt. Backstage, Carmella Hayes tells Trick Williams that he has the men's Iron Survivor Challenge. Williams tells him to take care of Lexis King, which Hayes doesn't seem to like, leading to Carmella Hayes versus Lexis King. Hayes got aggressive with King early on, leaving the heel on the back foot and threw Mello outside and blasted him on the steel steps. King demanded Mello shake his hand. He did late in the match, but then threw up the middle finger and headbutt to his opponent. Finally, Mello found his conviction and planted King with nothing but net. Afterwards, King taunted Mello, saying he didn't attack Trick Williams, but appreciate the premium live event spotlight. How does that affect Mello? I don't know, but surely Trick would be more pissed off by this. But I don't know about you, but I don't feel that this kind of hit right. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, the match itself, like I came away looking at it as a pretty decent showcase for what King can do. He had a couple moments in there. There's a couple spots where I was like, okay, It's pretty good. But other than that, like you said, it was pretty normal. I wouldn't say forgettable, but just wasn't really like you said, anything to latch itself onto. And then after the match to kind of say that it wasn't him, and then you wonder, and then like I'm one of those. I actually kind of appreciated it because I wasn't really used to it. To for someone to actually only being a douchebag or insert themselves into someone's business for attention. It's real, like you said, scumbag. It's like, oh man, it's trash. It's stupid. It's stupid from that sense, but it works because he is trying to be a scumbag, pretty much. So I don't mind that explanation, especially since he confirmed that he didn't do it finally. But I do think they're running the risk. We mentioned this the other day, and I think something that happened later, and we'll talk about it. But I think that they're figuring out now that they're probably gonna have to eventually they're gonna have to pull this trigger on what they're gonna do with whether it's about Melo at this point, because now it's really starting to look like Melo if Lexus just go ahead and flat out say no, he had nothing to do with it now. So it's pretty hard to deny it. Like you said, I don't know how. I know Trick is focused on other things, and maybe that's how he can ignore that. But yeah. But besides that fact, the match itself, like you said, I'm with you. It was kind of disjointed, I guess. Even though I kind of understood what they were trying to do with the match.
Do you think NXT Anonymous will have a new clip for us on the next NXT about another wrestler walking? Who knows? But I felt it was a bit of a shame because when Melo comes out, it has like this Johnny feel at NXT PLEs now. We kind of know what Melo
big match.
Mm-hmm. As the King, this was the biggest stage. I mean, I can't remember a singles match in AEW that was like this. So for your first match at PLE to be against someone like Carmelo is a huge step up, Yeah. And like I said, maybe it did fall a little bit flat, but I guess they weren't in cahoots, which is annoying.
Nope.
No cahoots.
Yeah. Yeah, again, they planted the seeds for this to be really, really unique, and I think that kind of took the way this ended, kind of took away from the uniqueness of the story. But again, like I said, I think as far as the King goes, I don't think this hurt him in the long run either. You know what I mean? It established what he's willing to go through for attention. So you at least got that.
Yeah, I think you're right. What would you score out of 5?
I'm gonna go put it. I'm gonna say it's around 3 3/4. Like again, I thought the work was pretty good, and you're 100% right again about Pillman, because the only singles match before this I can even think of was him. I think getting killed by like Wardlow. So yeah.
And again, people will be like, "Well, it was not AEW's fault. He was in other promotions." But let's see now. Hopefully, they can move on with saying. I would be surprised with Lexus King. He'd be a perfect guy to have like a big guy. As his backup.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Just that kind of. We'll see what happens there, and of course with Melo. Prediction. I went 3 3/4 as well, but predictions we all went for King, so it means the girls are on 1, the experts are on 0. After 4, Monty, we haven't got a fucking point.
I was miserable, man. As far as, I just kind of stopped thinking about predictions by this point. I think you mentioned that on your initial rock, you just after the last legend thing, you was just like, "Yeah, I'm done for now. I'm going to sleep or whatever." And I'm just like, "Yeah." I was like, "Well, I don't even care about predictions. Let me just try to enjoy the show," because it's obviously not my night. So yeah, man, we started off horrendously.
I can't remember another event where, especially both of us, started and continued so badly.
Right.
Cora Jade.
Especially NXT, man.
Yeah,
AEW, I can understand.
Yeah,
I get it. I don't, you know what I mean? But come on, man.
I understand Extreme Rules or something like that, but not Deadline. But again, Cora Jade says people aren't happy she's back, but she gave them 4 months off. She'll be back on Tuesday. Vengeance Day will be on Sunday, February 4th. We also saw Trick Williams being proud of Kamala Hayes, who tells him to win tonight, or Hayes does to Trick. So we get the Men's Iron Survivor Challenge, which is Dijak v Bate v Trick v Briggs v Brom. And Dijak is at number 1 and Josh Briggs is at number 2. Feast Your Eyes gives Dijak the first fall. Tyler Bate is at number 3. Briggs comes back in to go after Dijak. One heck of a clothesline gives Briggs the pin on Dijak. Dijak is back in. He gets rolled up by Bate for the pin. Trick Williams is in at 4. The fans go banana as Williams runs over everyone. We get very long airplane spin, complete with Bate putting his hands on his hips. I don't think, for me personally, there's more of an impressive move. I always remember Cesaro with Rollins a couple of years ago. And even though Bate wouldn't hold him up too long, still so impressive. Pinning Trick. Dijak gets to run over some people until Bron Breakker is in at number 5 even. The spear pins Briggs. Another pins Bate. And then another pins Dijak. A huge Williams dive takes everyone out, but Dijak big boots him for the pin. Breakker is back up with a super Frankenstein to send Dijak into a Tyler driver from Bate, who gets a pin. Briggs and Dijak get up and start cleaning the house, hitting stereo moonsaults for stereo pins on Breakker and Williams. And at this point, Breakker's on 3, Bates on 3, Dijak 3, Briggs 2, Williams on 0. Less than a minute and a half to go. Trick is being speared through the barricade, and it looked like he was done. Or was he? And I've got to say, I don't think I've seen a crazier minute and a half. Williams rolls Briggs up for a fast pin at 23:49. Feast Your Eyes hits Williams, but here is Eddie Thorpe to jump Dijak instead. Williams steals the cover for the pin on Dijak at 24:29. Williams then rolls up Bate for the pin at 24:40. And just when it looks like Bron Breakker is going to hit the spear and win, Trick somehow knees Breakker in the face and gets a pin at 24:57 to win 4 falls to 3 overall. The crowd went absolutely mental. I mean, Monty, what a moment, not only for Trick, for the NXT universe, but just for, like you said, as a match concept, worked perfectly.
Yeah, man, this was really good, man. This was special, and it was to the point to where after this, I don't necessarily know. You could tell the crowd after how into this match they became. The crowd kind of was just like not deflated, but like the energy was different after this match. But to get into the match, like you said, man, this was just really well done. This is this one. I like the women's one a lot, but this one really confirmed to me that I'm like, okay, yeah, this concept is definitely here to stay, or it could be, especially if they can continue to do stuff like this. The way, like you said, the way Trick kind of just took the brunt of everyone's attacks pretty much for most of the match, and then just kind of had to go into another mode there at the end and win it. And the way it was done, like I said, if you want to be a nitpick person and be like, he got speared through a barricade. You know what I mean? Like, why? Where's the ceilings? I can say the same thing for Bron Breakker. He got chokeslammed through a table. He was back up in less than like 2 minutes.
So
but
hey, yeah.
Right, hey, it had to happen. I mean, that's just the way the spot was set up. So if you want to nitpick and say, "Oh man, that was not really well done," whatever. I disagree, though. I think everything about this match is really, really cool. Like you said, Bate looked great. He didn't look like he was just there. He fit right in it, even with all the bigger guys in there. I didn't even think Briggs looked half bad at times. He really showed that he is someone who can definitely stand alone if given the time. But yeah, this match, man, was all about Trick. Those people, they wanted Trick Williams to win. And, and Braun also, like I said, my 2 favorites going into this match was Breakker and Trick. And I feel like those guys, you can't tell me Bron Breakker is not ready for the next level, man.
Honestly, like
he was doing certain things in there where I'm like, oh my God.
The speed of
right,
it
the explosiveness, man. Like he just, yeah, man. And he did like a fall away slam where he flipped moonsaults off the top rope, and it's just like, what the hell? Is like, again, Braun is ready. I don't care what anyone says, especially since we know he's pretty much done it all in NXT. They need to go ahead and pull the trigger. Maybe they're waiting for a Night After Mania debut or something, but I don't know. Breakker is ready. That's the only thing I can guarantee. I think we can agree there. But Trick Williams, the hottest man in the match, hottest man pretty much in NXT. If you're just going off the reactions that he's getting and just the way they executed that finish, man, it was just beautiful. It made sense. Like I told you, Eddie Thorpe has been getting tortured. I can't blame him for wanting to get Dijak back, even though, to be honest, he probably should get. He owes Joe Coffey something. He owes a lot of people some get back after the last few weeks, to be honest. But yeah, man, I loved him kind of doing that and setting up the pretty much the breakneck finish that we had there. And man, it was just really, really unique. Whoever came up with that and the way it was executed, I thought was a genius way to wrap up this match. And you could just tell by the way the crowd reacted to it. That was not only the right decision to give the victory to Trick, the way it was done was perfect, you know. And I just think, honestly, this was a really, really good match. And like I said, I'm down with every year throwing 5 more people into this scenario if they can make it as exciting as this one.
Oh, this was whoever booked it perfectly. You know, like from the very first minute, even when Dijak got the fall within the first 5, you thought this is going to be different to the other ones.
Right.
And it just built and built and built. My only complaint, and again, I've got one complaint, is seeing like Trick pinned about 5 times.
Yeah,
like,
he took so many pins, man, you know?
But again, to all 5 to come out, like Briggs looked great. You know, the best he has done.
Right.
There's no doubt. Bate, like you said, looked like the old Tyler. Bron was a monster. And again, just to elaborate on that point, the thing with Bron going to main roster, once he goes there, it will be a John Cena, Randy Orton type
man.
of,
Hell
do you
yeah.
know what I mean? Challenging, you know, Cody the next night. Or do you know what I mean?
Right.
Or something like that. Like, literally. So once they go with him, they'll have to go. There's no doubt. But one of the pleasant surprises watching NXT this amount of time, especially together, is this journey of Trick. And this kind of...
Man.
You know, not being shoved down anybody's throat. This has been so kind of like
genuine.
I don't know. Do you know what I mean? It is a genuine journey, like natural to get to this
organic.
Organic. That's what I'm looking for, man. And again, you're right. This should have been the main event because everybody was waiting for Trick. Like talk about a main event level pop when he came out and whoop that Trick. You know, everybody loves doing it. There's no fucking doubt. The crowd laps it up. You know. Really,
man.
Really good stuff. Like this match was brilliant, you know.
Right, he felt special. He just feels like they got the total package there. And like you said, it was just one of those things that you couldn't even see coming. I kind of felt proud of him and Lash Legend when you really, just to be honest, because I thought they both kind of like were the shining stars of their matches, and I think they kind of hit it out the park with their athleticism. And like you said, the only thing is that, like you said, maybe they could have protected Trick a little bit more because I understood they wanted to kind of make a beautiful comeback story, but he did kind of get beat a lot. And like honestly, I was like, I don't know about you, but if you remember, I think he went into the penalty box at like 23 minutes or 22 minutes, and I'm like, he only had like 1 or 0 falls, and I'm like, we are really bad tonight. Like, I really was convinced that Tyler or Dijak or something. Yeah, I was really convinced that we really screwed up. And like we was horrible. But that made it even better, you know, to just kind of add a little bit of our predictions element into it to finally get something right. And then it be Trick Williams doing it like that. Like, I was over the moon, man. And you're 100% right. The whoop that Trick chant. And just how popular and just how just special he seems right now. I just feel like, man, I don't know, man. I'm not trying to say I would book him to beat Dragunov so soon, but you can't tell me he doesn't feel like a future NXT champion right now. Like, that's just how over he feels right now. And I don't know if I would have said that last year.
But they've got it set up, you know. And again, you've got New Year's Evil now, which Trick's going to face champion. At that point, like you talk about, you expect the trigger to be pulled with Mello, to have that, to lead to Vengeance Day between the two, which would be another main event. And then if Trick can get that done, Stand and Deliver versus the EA, you know, and again, Dragunov at that point would have the, 6-month run or whatever it is. He's ready for the main roster as well.
Also, I agree.
Like, you could argue he could go up and challenge Gunther at any point. And be my favourite. You know? Right. But again, so Trick is 6'5", you know, like even they talk about it, the size he is, to be the fan favourite is, like I said, it's Vince McMahon's wet dream. It's like having that personality and everything, working with Mello, it has just been perfect. What would you score that out of 5, Lo?
Overall, I would give it 5 out of 5. And I think to kind of piggyback back off that last point, you see the star power, you see the potential. I think a lot of these 2.0 guys, when they were trying to switch that image, you saw the potential or why they would try to invest money in some of these people. Even with Lash Legend, like we said, she towers over the entire women's division, even on the main roster, pretty much. Outside of maybe a Rhea Ripley, but even in height, she would tower over them. So again, it's just when you saw that, but they were out there too soon. A lot of them, a lot of those people were told to go out there and try to have matches and try to be entertaining all at the same time a little bit too soon. But when they had time to build on their in-ring work, to build on their character work, and you look at where we are now and just how, like you said, how special Trick feels. But yeah, this is my match of the night. By far, 5 stars. I was into it. I loved it. Not only because it was one of the first things I got right, but it's just literally was just like you said, from the beginning to the end, it felt very, very special. And again, it made me really be like, okay, every year I'm gonna be in December, I'm gonna be looking forward to some Iron Survivor situations, because I think they really hit it out the park with this. And I don't know, when we first watched the concept, I don't know about you, but for me, I don't think I was as sold on this as a match concept. I thought it was cool, trying something new, but I think this one really made me be like, okay, no, this has the potential to be exciting every year. I don't know if they can make it as exciting as this one was. I don't know if it's just because of how good Trick is right now, but this match was really good, man. And it was smart too, because even the Eddie Thorpe thing made sense. So I loved it.
Yeah, without doubt. I'm going to give this 4 3/4 out of 5. Like I said, the match type itself, last year, we just lost War Games. So it's difficult to come and replace that and get used to a new one. But like I said, everything worked perfectly here. And the thing I loved about it as well was like the fact we had like over 10 pinfalls. So it wasn't like we waited for certain moments. It was just, it was
so many moments.
Consistently good. Very, very good stuff. Predictions. We all went Trick, apart from Gina, who went Dijak. So thank fuck she went Dijak, in a way.
Right.
Our first points, Monty. Did you think our first points would be for the 5th match in, eh? Who would have known
No way.
that?
No way, man. No way.
Jesus Christ. Brooks Jensen tries to cheer up Josh Briggs and Fallon Henley, and much like me, can't be fucking interested in him. Metaphor comes in. And, of course, a fight breaks out, because who doesn't want to punch Brooke Jensen? Kiana James is driven even from the W headquarters to the arena for still.
It was a bad sign.
Versus Roxanne Perez. Doesn't get any better for us. I'm going, why did they put this match here? Why put them after the Iron Survivor? But I don't know. Kiana James went for a steel chair, which Roxanne Perez stole from her. And Izzy Dame. Isn't that the name you mentioned yesterday, Monty?
Yep.
Showed up, blasted the prodigy with a steel cage door, setting up James to hit the deal breaker for the victory.
Oh my God, man.
What the fuck is this? Like, I don't care. I don't care what anybody says. No.
I agree. I'm someone who actually can see the potential in Kiana, and I still am just like this. I don't understand the booking of Roxy at this point. I just don't. I don't get it. I don't know how you go from just feeling like top of the class, and it's a such thing as being a little too giving, if you see what I'm trying to say, and I think it's a similar thing with like Melo. We talked about it, big match moments. We're used to Roxy and Melo being in these situations now, and you see that they didn't want to be so giving for Melo. They weren't giving enough to let him lose the Lexus there. Even though Melo has done everything you can do, pretty much. But Roxy, on the other hand, has to suffer here. And, again, like I said, the signs were there. Izzy did out of nowhere. I don't know why she does. I don't know if she just loved Kiana that much. I don't even understand. That's another thing. It'd be nice if we could have seen hints other than her just being a random person because like she just seemed very, very random. Even the pop when she initially did it, you can tell the crowd was like, who the hell is this?
It's the opposite of the Tony Storm thing, where everybody's expecting the woman to interfere in Tony Storm. She doesn't.
Right.
And in this one, it's like, oh, she did. Oh, we didn't
She
even
did
know.
exactly. That's a great reference. I like that because you're right. You know, you're going into the other situation thinking about the Mariah popping up, and she didn't. But in this situation, this girl who just keeps popping up randomly, she popped up again, and I don't even understand why she hates Roxy so much, but she does, or she loves Kiana enough to hate Roxy with her. Again, I'm with you, man. It's the wrong decision. As much as I think I do see the potential, I just feel like it's a such thing as being too giving. Like at the end of the day, Roxy should have been the last person, the last woman standing in this scenario. And I think honestly, I don't know about you. I'm pretty sure it seems like we may get it at least a continuation of this feud to New Year's Eve. And I don't know if I'm really down with that because honestly, I
Yay.
wanted this to be the end. You know what I mean? I wanted this cage. I thought, like we said, you said it too. Cage match is supposed to be the end of these things, and it seems like we're gonna get more.
Just because Rox is on a different level to Kiana doesn't mean you have to knock Rox down.
Right.
You build others up. We talk about Tiffany. We talk about Valkyria. It's weird with Roxy. It seems since, like I said, Lyra and Tiffany Stratton, she is just like not thought about. And again, trying to get Kiana over. I don't understand. I just don't get it.
Me either.
Out of 5, again, both tried, but
it's
not the position to be on the card. You know, even have Lyra in a triple threat match against these two, and then build a steel cage match for New Year's Eve.
I agree.
You know, do
something. Yeah, that's another thing. You need stakes.
Prick.
Stakes may have made this a little bit better. I agree there. Yeah, stakes, like some type of title stakes or something, could have made this better.
Yeah. Anyway, so out of 5, I'm going to give this a 3.5 because I'm...
Yeah. I agree. Same score here.
Yeah. Predictions, we all went Perez, apart from Gina, who went...
How?
So, exactly.
Like,
how, so we laugh at her for going Dijak.
Dijak, but she goes Kiana. Like, she knew Kiana, she knew Axiom would win. Like, what the hell, man?
So at the moment,
and she probably can't tell you who Kiana. If I showed you, if I put a picture of Kiana in the group chat and asked who this is, she probably wouldn't know. No, I'm not hurt at all, though. I'm not hurt at all.
No, it doesn't sound it. I mean, it doesn't sound it. Predictions, like we talk about, it means Jackson Jr. on 2, and your experts after 6 are on 1. I don't think there's been a worse score.
You know it's bad when you're begging for them to be like, maybe they pick Corbin.
You better win. How can you win on 2 or 3 points? Especially on a 7 match card.
No, man, that's bad. That's a great point. That's how bad we did, man. Come on.
It's like, wow,
1 out of 6.
Yeah, they got 3. No, whoa. We preview the men's breakout tournament, and we head to the main event, which is the NXT Championship. Ilya Dragunov versus Baron Corbin. Corbin came out on a motorcycle with a Hellboy-inspired Titantron. Ilya was like, you can have your motorbike. I'm coming out as a fire-eating dragon. Like, yeah. I think we know who won entrance of the night.
Right.
But to be fair, Corbin took control, beating on the ribs of Ilya Dragunov, but the Mad Dragon wouldn't break. I did get a bit distracted because I noticed that Baron Corbin's upper body looks like a face. His tummy button is the face, or is the mouth, as we say. So next time you're watching, have a look. Obviously, nipples are eyes. Back to the title match. See, this is how invested I was into this matchup. The former Lone Wolf mocked the Mad Dragon with a hug for planting him with Urunagi. Like I said, Dragunov sold his ribs throughout the match, having trouble lifting Corbin and hurt himself on a diving senton. Corbin countered Torpedo Moscow with a deep 6, then planted the Mad Dragon with an inverted fireman's carry slam into a brainbuster for near fall. Just before the finish, Dragunov hugged Corbin and whispered something in his ear. He hit him with 3 H-bombs and a Torpedo Moscow just to make sure. You know, like the 1 H-bomb, probably get the job done. But as you talk about, Baron did deserve it. And then right at the end, after the match, Trick Williams came out to signal his intent for the NXT Championship with Carmella Hayes following slowly behind. Mm-hmm. Before we talk about that, let's talk about the match. And would you believe Baron Corbin has some fans?
Right. Like I know he's doing well for himself in NXT, but I guess that's a pure testament to that, because yeah, you definitely can tell me that a few years back when everyone was sick of Corbin. But to be fair, he was saddled with a lot of mess. I think in his case, he might get that babyface run before Miz before like before that before you have to wait so long for the Miz to get respect. He might get it sooner because of just the amount of shit he's had to deal with when it comes to characters. But anyway, yeah, man, I thought this was pretty cool. I didn't have a problem with it. I thought this went pretty much how I expected it to go. They had I thought Corbin got a lot of offense in. I was more surprised, but I wasn't expecting him to get squashed, especially when you go outside. A big guy like Corbin probably wasn't going to get just absolutely destroyed. But Dragunov definitely did more than enough, in my opinion, for him to make Corbin pay. And I thought this was a really good match, even if it probably wasn't like a classic main event. I thought it was a solid to really good championship match. And I think Dragunov, like you said, those extra H bombs. Honestly, I'm surprised he stopped at 3. To be fair, because he gave Frazier 3, but he did get, like you said, he gave him an extra torpedo on top. So he definitely still had to let sure Corbin know that you don't do that to Dragunov. But yeah, man, I thought this was a impressive match nonetheless. A pretty solid match to continue Dragunov's reign, on top of NXT. So yeah, I had no problems with it.
Yeah, I can't wait till the crowd really get behind with when he hits the Torpedo Moscow with the Nxt bar. Like the bar at the end and then running toward. Every time he does it, I'm like Corey Graves on the Kinshasa.
Yeah.
This is the best Corbin's looked in years. So what happens next with Baron is key. Like, this is kind of reinvigorated him a little bit, but if he keeps on jobbing out, maybe stays on NXT, it'll be interesting. I am so pleased Ilya Dragunov is our champion, there is no doubt.
We're spoiled in that regard.
He just bleeds just by being, like we talk about other wrestlers, like he's so intense, his veins just pop before he starts. He does need better opponents, but obviously we know who his next opponent is. Before we get to that, what would you score the main event of Deadline?
Yeah, I think it was pretty good. I gave it 4 1/4. Like you said, best match, one of the best matches, or just again, Corbin in general in NXT in this run have been really impressive. Like you said, I am looking forward to see, does he eventually return to the main roster, and is he actually going to be a threat, kind of like this in NXT, or like you said, is this just going to be what he does? Is it going to be kind of like an Apollo Crews situation where after a while you're like, why are you even still here? You know what I mean? Yeah, and now he's nowhere to be found.
So it's everybody just like just turns face heel again and just continues.
Yeah, exactly. Do you just continue the cycle, something, or do you like join a tag team with Von Wagner? And I'm just like confused or something.
I saw Dijak and Briggs maybe as a tag team early in the night.
True, and I thought, true. I saw that potential. But I was like, why would you let Briggs leave the other guy just to join up with
like
Dijak? But
generic tool guys or something like that. Come up with a name. But I gave it a 4 1/4 as well. Like I said, Corbin. The problem is Corbin doesn't dish out. We talk about Dijak. If Corbin had Dijak's moveset,
oh my goodness,
punishment he could dish out. But unfortunately, it's not like that. Predictions though, we all went Ilya. Before we get to final scores, let's talk about the elephant in the room, as it was. So Ilya Dragunov knows that he is evil. He will face Trick Williams. I don't know what was more of a sign of things to come, was with Trick coming out or Mello a couple of steps behind, looking like he's just about to take him out.
Right. Yeah, I noticed it, man. I love the subtlety. When I watched it back, too, it wasn't just that he was about, it was also kind of like a subtle, and I was hoping, again, I was hoping the crowd would notice it, but it seemed like maybe the crowd was just assuming, oh, maybe he's just coming to support Trick. But honestly, I think you're 100% right. I thought that was so expertly done, especially since they cut the black in the way they did it. And just, again, he's behind Trick Williams. Once again, Trick Williams doing his own thing. and he don't see what's behind him. It's a nice little subtle storytelling there, just with again without saying a word. And I like you mentioned yesterday, Melo has been doing an awesome job of just telling stories with facial expression, telling stories with his actions and the way he's moving, without necessarily saying what we already can kind of tell. They're heading. So yeah, man, I love the way that was done, and I just think that you're 100% right. I think at New Year's Eve, that will probably be, I think January 2nd, that will be when they finally pull the trigger. Now, how do they choose to do it? Is it going to be an overt costing of the championship situation from Trick Williams, from Melo, or will it be like a video? Will NXT Anonymous have horrible timing and pop the video up in the middle of the match or something? Like what will happen?
It's going to be one of two things, right? First off, it'll either be a devil appears on the screen to Trick, right, and says to him that he's going to get him, or they literally do. Because again, everybody must remember Shawn Michaels and Triple H. When Shawn Michaels got his head put through the car, and he had the image of the guy who did it, and they slowly took away the pixels, and it was Triple H.
It was Triple H,
yeah. People don't remember that, and that will hit so big now with Melo. Like they've got to do something like that with Melo attacking Trick from behind or something as well in ring, or maybe just straight up cost him his title. Because again, I think Trick can lose to the Dragunov and still come out pretty strong, because we know like Ilya and Trick would just be like, oh mate, remember when I battered you fucking 4 months ago?
Right,
my mate then. But they've got a nice relationship, so again,
respect. They have respect now. Yeah,
it's something that you could argue Melo and Trick don't have.
Ooh. Exactly, because that's the underlying element. When Trick supported him all along the way, always held up Melo to the highest regard. But when now Trick is in the forefront, the energy is not the same from Melo. So, and like you said, respect, a little bit of jealousy. It's a lot of that going on. That's basically the themes of this storyline. And I'm 100% with you. It's like, and also, again, I will point out that Trick Williams' return did cost Melo in a title match. So Melo could just, like you said, it could be just completely overt. Like you mentioned, so we'll see. I can't wait. They have a lot of ways to do it. I'm with you. I think him and Trick and Dragunov could still have the match. Trick and lose, and they can still do everything they need to do. And the main thing I will be looking for from that title match is I'm looking for Trick Williams to be not just surprised. When that first match happened, people were surprised at just how tough or just how good Trick Williams is by comparison to Dragunov. And I think this time we need to actually be like, oh my God, we thought he won. Like a good running knee spot or something that make it seem like Trick Williams had the championship in his grasp. And, maybe Melo or maybe something else is the reason why, or just Dragunov being just tough or too tough to pull it off in the end. So yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to from that match and that contest. But I also want to say, this is a bold Trick Williams' rise. As much as I would like to say it has a lot to do with his character work and just the music and everything, how everything that's went into it. Got to give credit to the world champion, because I feel like the matches and the stuff with Dragunov, the fact that Trick Williams was not afraid to fight as hard as he possibly could against a guy as tough as Dragunov, that helped Trick Williams get to where he is now too. So it's really cool, to see these two guys starting off next year. With a hopefully a really good special contest that can continue where they left off.
Yeah, I mean, like you talk about as well, just to add to it, the fact of every big match Melo won, Trick was in his corner, and Trick has proven he doesn't need Melo in his.
He don't need Melo
to win the big one.
Right.
And again, the relationship with Leah, with how it even began with Trick, wanting to be serious. Like I said, there's a story there as well. My only issue is hopefully Dragunov doesn't get lost in the story of Trick and Melo. If that's what we're going for stand and deliver, we need an opponent for Dragunov.
Right.
And again, at this moment in time, I can't really think of one that stands out. Like again,
you're right
again, or it's.
I'm thinking maybe they do multi-man. Like maybe you can include the world championship, but you're right. He would be an afterthought if they decide to do like Trick, Melo, Dragunov and insert someone else, or just, you know what I mean? But I don't know. You're 100% right. It's right now that they are in need of another, either someone like you're right.
Well,
Like I can't even think anybody who's a
I
big
wouldn't even
bad
mind
heel.
someone like Karrion Cross choking
Yeah,
out Ilya
hell
Dragunov.
yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
hell
After
yeah.
the track match or something like that. Like,
Yeah, and he was dominating NXT, so it would be a nice, yeah, it'd be a nice. That I 100% agree. He'll be a good return, like someone like that of that ilk would be perfect for this particular moment, because we need a test. That's another thing. I want someone physical too. Like let's get another Dragunov War. That's another thing too. As much as I like the Corbin story, like you mentioned, he's not the most physical when it comes to his in-ring style. Like you say, he's one of the safest in the company. So let's get someone who's going to try to kill Dragunov, like those JD matches back in the day and stuff.
Let's see what Ilya tries back. But
right.
Predictions. We'll talk about predictions for this. We have to mention it. We all went Ilya. So final score
man.
means James.
Did we have
Monty,
to mention it? You sure we had to mention it?
We finished on 2 out of 7, which has got to be the worst score we've ever done.
Oh my goodness.
Jackson and Gina are your winners on 3. What a pair of cunts. I'm sure they cheated.
Something happened, man.
Yeah, they're not. Come on, thanks.
I'm revoking my expert status for a week or two. Something, man. I got to do better. Like that. That was
the next episode. Just
that was painful.
And here's Monty.
Right. Yeah. Just some guy on the podcast talking.
So it means the prediction leagues after deadline, like we know, Gina has got the league win in WWE with AW 1 show left. Jaxie James on 4, Monty Gina on 3. Bonus league with 1 bonus point left. This actually helps you, Monty, and I don't know how being so bad has helped, but it has guaranteed you a league win now. You're on 16 points with Gina joining me on 15.
15.
What the fuck, guys? Like, WWE, that pissed me off because I was second for so long, and then Monty joined me, and all of a sudden Gina has us now. Jaxie is on 12. So what it means for the bonus league is that Gina and I need a perfect score at Wells End to tie.
Yeah.
And Monty, what's scary is Gina is capable, and she's know
capable.
That.
Yeah. Oh my God. Like that's what I was mentioning. I'm like, I think before the show and privately, I was letting you guys know. Like I'm frazzled. Like I know I'm still at the top, but like I don't want to tie. So, but at the same time, I doubt myself ever for getting an AEW perfect. Like getting an AEW show perfect for me, that's just out of the question 9 times out of 10. But you're 100% right. Like Gina is perfectly capable of getting a perfect, tying this up. And just, man, I'm really hoping that Tony throws us for a loop and give us one of those 13 random match cards or something. Or something. I don't know. I need some help because I don't want to.
It'll be the first AEW show with 5 matches. That's.
Oh my God, the fix is in if that's the case.
But again, it is so close. The only thing is decided
wow,
is WWE. And like I said, even when we get to year-end predictions, it still won't be decided until Wells End. And again, I will say this now, it's come back to haunt me, but I've done this for 8 years now, 9 years, and not 1 year have I never lost at least one. I've always won a league. So to be in this position at the moment of, it's scary. So I need...
You brushing up on your AEW?
Oh, mate, the AEW is all or nothing, double or nothing, as it was. Do you know what I mean? Like, it has to be.
Right.
I'm going to watch Collision on repeat. Just to try
you're going to have me watching Rampage for a change. And I have... as irrelevant as that is.
We'll both be going, where's Dark? Where's Dark and Elevation gone? Like, we want to... we don't know.
Right.
But yeah, Wells End is the show left. Back to deadline. We always do the 3 things to end the show. So the match of the night is the men's Iron Survivor. And like you said, Monty,
definitely.
It's put up there now with other W match types. And this is something that could be going on for quite a while now.
Right. I think this one was so well done. I think Deadline in general, just the energy of it. Honestly, like you said, it felt like it should have been the last match. I don't know. I mean, honestly, this one was so good, so done well that maybe in the future it will be the first and last match, a la like War Games and other situations. But I don't know. Like I said, this was really really done well, and I just came away from the match not only enjoying the outcome and just the way they did everything, but I came away from the rest of the show. Even the Dragunov match did not have that energy. As good as that Dragunov in the match was, it didn't have that same energy that we felt in that match. So yeah, man, this is just really well done. Definitely the match of the night.
Yeah, one thing I struggled with MVP because I didn't want to just put like Trick.
Yeah,
right. I was thinking about Lash, and I do think the James from right this moment would have an argument with the James back who didn't like Lash Legend because she's grown on me. But again, that's why I love wrestling, and I've always said this to you as well. Well, my opinion is always there to be changed for the right,
100%. And and exactly. But that's wrestling, man. It's like sometimes it can go. You can really like someone, and you can be like, "Oh goodness," you know what I'm saying? You never know. The next year, you might be a Brooks Jensen fan. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, maybe not.
Maybe not.
I was right about Mojo Rawley. I was right about a few of them, but
I had to throw it out with it there. But no, I'm with you, man. Lash Legend definitely was my MVP of that match, even with Blair. And you know what? That's the crazy thing about it. She was so good that Blair Davenport winning kind of almost went under the radar. Like, because you came away from that match thinking about the Lash Legend spots. You know what I'm saying? So, and maybe Tiffany again, because she was awesome as always. But we were used to that. Now, I can't do anything but come away impressed with Lash Legend. And I'm going to give Axiom a shout. I'm going to give Axiom a shout, too, because, again, like I said, that match was so well done, even though it was a kickoff show match. Now I'm hoping that they actually try to build some type of babyface run for Axiom instead of just forgetting all about him. Because again, he has the potential to be really, really. Like I said, we liked him when he had no match, when he was a kid. I liked him even then. So I feel like he has the potential to be great. oh, my fault. I'm sorry. My fault. I haven't seen. You're right. We haven't seen a kid in a while. He's missing, but
that's what Vic did. He said on commentary as well. He's like, they've known each other for ages through other ways. And like, yeah, right.
Yeah. Through other paths, different paths or something. Like, okay, Vic.
But I'm going to be biased because my MVP, my true MVP, is going to be Tyler Bate. Because Tyler Bate showed in this match what he can do. And I'm hoping next year, I'm not asking for much. Just a North American title run, then into NXT Championship, and then he can be the only man who's held every title in NXT UK and NXT, then move to the main roster. That's all I ask.
Yeah, I'm hearing whispers, by the way, that the last part, I don't know about those championships in NXT. I'm hearing whispers that the main roster is looking, that he's looking primed for that. So, like you said, it'd be nice to see if he can get as much accomplished before he's there. But it's just like we mentioned with Ilya and Braun. He's the done deal, man. He's the finished product right now. He's ready.
Yeah, without doubt. And finally, Len, so rating out of 10. Monty, for the last WWE event of the year, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, man, this is a very, very strong show. I mean, honestly, some of the best wrestling of the year. And I think it was a very strong way for WWE and NXT to finish off the year. And it just it gave me. We talked about this. I think again, I'm gonna go down memory lane once again. But we went through a phase where they took the takeovers away. They didn't want to call it that, and going to the premium live event phase, and we were just a lot of times, even they were decent even in the 2.0 era. But this felt like those black and gold days with the NXT chants and just a moment after a moment. The energy was just great in that building. Like you said, you mentioned about the tickets and just and all of that, but it didn't feel that way in Connecticut. Like the people that were there really seemed to be into the product, especially like we mentioned with the Iron Survivors matches and everything leading up to that point, even the Dominic stuff and all of that type of stuff. And the kickoff match, like I said, from the very beginning of the show, pretty much until Trick Williams won, they really seemed to be into it. But like I said, I think overall I would give this show an 8.5. I really, really enjoyed it. The only negatives, if you even want to call them negatives, even though I think they worked hard, like I said, the Roxanne Kiana James, I don't understand the Roxanne Perez booking. Now, I'm not really a fan of it. I think she should be booked just as strong as other women that's in the top tier of the women's division. And when you have someone like Cora Jade returning and Nikita Lyons, it's like, man, Roxy, you know what I'm saying? Is she sliding down the ladder? The more women you bring up, like with Blair too, winning, like now you gotta kind of put Blair above her, and then of course Kiana when she picked up the win. So yeah, man, that's probably the biggest minus. But even that was a solid, and I thought they worked hard, even if I didn't like the outcome. So yeah, man, this is a really, really strong show. I gave it 8.5.
Yeah, no, I got to completely agree with you. I mean, again, a couple of changes. If Wesley is the guy dethroning Dominic at the start of the show, that would have been
True.
the moment.
That would have been even better, right?
We would have remembered. To have Trick in the main event and then Ilya coming out afterwards to stare him down maybe would have worked, but you probably wouldn't have had the mellow bit. But again, I still think the fans were there, as you mentioned, for Trick and that matchup. But again, 8.5. Like I said, NXT, it feels like there's so much opportunity now for so many wrestlers, and it's weird that we talk about Roxanne and about going up and down, from all the other wrestlers coming in. I'm hoping the same for the male division as well, especially like the breakout tournament. But of course, we'll talk a little bit more NXT, the year-end show, and kind of hopes for the following year, I think. But is there anything else about Deadline today, Monty?
No, I think that's pretty much it. Like I said, I think kudos to everyone. I think they worked hard, and again, I don't know if it's just because of the live events, but I just got to give everyone a lot of love for real, the improvement and just the timing of everything and just how official everything feels. Like I said, as much as this is about the stars of the future, when they put on a premium live event, it feels like it's in the same vein of even the AEW pay-per-views, the Impact pay-per-views, WWE main roster pay-per-views. You know what I'm saying? Like NXT is not lacking at all in any area, in my opinion, in quality. If you ask me.
No, and I think we deserve it. Speaking of people that have sat
definitely
through the stuff to get to this point now, and again, it shows the trust in NXT for WWE to have NXT be the last premium live event.
And not even a Tony D vignette. Did we even get a Tony D vignette?
Yeah, we got.
Aren't they still the tag champions?
We got a Tony D Stacks kind of. We got a couple of weird videos during it, like Bobby Lashley, and
Oh yeah, one of those things.
Like
Yeah.
And we had
one
like
of
Tony
those
D
things.
of like, look at us eat spaghetti. But I'm sure they'll sort something out. But we can worry about that next year. So that is it. Don't forget, we're across all social media, Twitter at the Double R Podcast. I'm at the Double R Jar. You can find the entire Double R team on the Twitter banner. Monty, do you want to plug your stuff?
Yeah, like I said, mentioned on the last episode, at My Monty Pod, we are returning next year on the Mind of Monty podcast. Kind of a different format, but similar, because I will still be talking wrestling, but it just won't be so mainly wrestling focused. We're going to talk about life, my life, bring up some different scenarios, and just try to have more fun with the show, switch up the style. Please check it out. All my links are like in my bio at My Monty Pod on Twitter. You can go to subscribe to YouTube. We're going to try to post more clips there. You're going to try to get a little bit more active as the new year come in. Try to get things going again as now that I've kind of hit the 6-month threshold as a father. We're getting more of a routine. We're getting sleep again. You know what I mean? Things are getting normal.
Yeah.
So, I think now it's time to dip my toe completely back into podcasting and doing what I love to do. So please check it out.
Yeah, that's unfortunately the thing with the WNR. Like I said, the machine keeps going. So
exactly,
on, after you've had time off, yeah, it's a bit of a stretch. But don't worry, because we're here as well. WNR also on Facebook and Instagram, across all Google platforms. Send us an email, the WNRpodcast@gmail.com. YouTube podcast with the latest clips and podcasts. At the same time, you usually do SoundCloud on your phone, also Spotify and iTunes, where you can download, subscribe, rate, and review there. So that is it. Our next episode, I've had this great idea, Monty. My next episode is going to be Impact Year End. You remember those old year in review WWF videos from 95 with Doc Hendricks? Like, I'm
The
going to do the
highlights and stuff.
Impact version of that. You know, of me going, this was a good match, and trying to remember what happened in March. But I promise people listening, it's going to be a great show. What is
It's going to be a
fun,
lot of this guy debuted and that guy, this
Yeah.
person returned. Impact had a very exciting year in that regard.
We had a long year, without a doubt.
Yeah.
But again, what's even more exciting, because we are in December, is we have got the Christmas special coming up with the 9th annual WNR Awards. Can you believe it? I think these are your 3rd or 4th, Monty. Like, my God.
Yeah, these shows are always a lot of fun too, you know. So, you know, I still think back to like the first one we had the first mass debates and all of that. So, yeah, man, this is gonna be good times. I'm looking forward to it. I'm pretty sure I know you.
I'm about to say, I haven't got any masturbating on the 500. I forgot.
On the anniversary, right? Yeah, we got to think of something, man. I'm pretty sure we can argue about something. We do it for no reason anyway. But yeah, man, I'm looking forward to it. It's always fun, man. And you always seem to be you're a creative genius when it comes to just coming up with these things. Like if I could borrow your planning brain, sometimes I would probably be a better, you know, podcaster myself.
Yeah, but at least you've got a loving family. I'm alone. Coming so, like, you know, negatives, positives.
That's a good point.
To close out the year as well. Close out the year for the first time ever, because you know I love first time evers. Part 1 of our year-end predictions with world-end predictions. We're going to find out the WWE points, but of course the bonus in the AW League can't be decided. But we'll have a catch-up with New Japan and everything else then as well. And then we start the year, and Monty, I swear to God, the year just going to go phew. We've got Wrestle Kingdom, we've got Rumble, we've got so much coming up. And of course, like some NXT Vengeance Day as well.
Evil. Yeah.
New Year's Eve. Oh, I forgot about New Year's Eve. Well, fuck me. So, yeah, we're going to have a lot of fun. But like I said, at least you can have a little break now until, like we said, we all meet up at the Christmas cottage and try something like egg.
And we got Punk and Cody already talking about the Royal Rumble. Like, I'm already looking forward to January, man. Like, we got some exciting stuff coming, man. You thought this year was crazy in wrestling. It's like 2024 is setting up to be just as crazy. And we've been on an amazing run. Like I said, me and you, look at what we've done for wrestling, man. Since we gotten together.
Like, literally, like wrestling was in a dour state, and we've saved
it.
You know, not
us,
single-handedly,
double R,
like
me
together.
and you single-handedly.
Yeah,
oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, double-handedly. But again, it's even like this weekend, Monty. I appreciate you joining for my idea of doing a double. And again, I don't think the shows went too long either. So it's not like we're doing 3.5 hour shows each day.
Yeah.
So I think this was pretty cool. And especially so soon after. You know, like we said, the deadline is done. And we can move on now to the year-end specials.
Right, man. It was a breeze. Always a good time. So, yeah, man. Can't wait. We got to finish this year off strong and go into another amazing whirlwind that is pro wrestling.
Without a shadow of a doubt. Till then, it'll be James Rowlands. Like I said, I was joined by the mind of Monty. Thanks for listening, everybody. Bye.